Well, good morning, folks. It's the real Captain Kirk here. It is the 21st of September, day 188 remote. It is also the last day of summer here. So fall officially arrives tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. So again, enjoy this last day of summer here. The good news here is if we look at rainfall here over this summer time frame, 1 June through yesterday, actually the driest in 8 years nationally. So if you look at these yellow and peach brown areas, that's where rainfall was much below average. So the Northeast, throughout the Ohio Valley, Corn Belt, Midwest, and then obviously much of the West. The good news here is this can actually lead to some pretty spectacular fall color. So something to look forward here if you're in the Northeast. I would say even in our area here in Eastern PA, New Jersey, we had a lot of rainfall from Icius, but other than that, we had a pretty dry summer to say the least. So again, should make for a beautiful fall here, just in the weeks ahead. Looking at this last week here, again, how our big retail customers like to look at the weather. This is week ending Saturday versus last year. Big map here. So the U.S. was 5.3 degrees cooler than last year, making it the coolest in 6 years. 13th coolest in 35, with well below average national temperatures. Maps inset left show the trends versus average. So again, hot in the west, but cool in the eastern two-thirds of the country. Up in Canada, about 5.8 degrees colder than last year. Europe, 3.8 degrees warmer. Russia, 1.8 degrees warmer. But again, a dichotomy from west to east as well, with cold in western Russia and pretty warm relative to Siberia. Still cold, but much warmer than normal. Looking down at Australia, about 3.1 degrees warmer than a year ago. Here in the U.S., we were, again, 56% wetter, but that's misleading because, again, that was mostly due to Sally. Most of the country, 90% of the country, was very dry, except for the parts of the southeast that got the rainfall from Sally. One thing here for sure in the Northeast, it was cold. If you thought it was cold, it was very cold. It was actually 9 degrees colder than last year, making the coldest in over 35 years. In fact, we had many record lows. We had our first frost in the 30s here. Last couple nights here outside Eastern PA studios here. Looking at we like to quantify this, so we call it the power of 1 degree. So every degree colder in this time of year, there's actually about a 1% increase in soup sales, 2 to 3% increase in apparel sales. It can be very volatile categories like heaters can be up as much as 10%, and then things like electric lighting up 24%. So simple math here. Again, this is the simplified version of this, but obviously we do this by store everywhere on Earth, so it's a little more complicated. But 9 degrees cooler times soup sales, we'd have about a 9% increase. Jean sales up 18%. Coffee, you're inclined to drink more coffee if you think about it. It was pretty cold, so you may have switched from your cold beverage to your hot beverage here with the recent cold snap here in the Northeast. Fire log sales up as much as 72%. So again, 'tis the season, starting to think fall here in the Northeast. If you noticed, also here in the Northeast, we actually had some very thick smoke, made it all the way from the very active fires in the West Coast. Jet stream brought it all the way here to the East Coast. As that cold front came through, though, it actually pushed all the smoke out of our area. So we have beautiful clear blue skies here the last few days here this past weekend under the very chilly conditions. We still have 56 uncontained fires out there in the West. So God bless all those folks fighting the fires. We ran out of names. The hurricane season's obviously epic here in terms of named storms. We're already at 23 named storms and counting. So we have a tropical storm Beta now off the coast of Texas. Fortunately, it's a relatively weak system, but it's going to meander very slowly across Texas and maybe New Orleans, and then eventually fizzle out in the southeast. So biggest impact will probably just be some heavier rain. Hopefully not epic, but again, certainly some flooding potential in spots, as it just a very slow, fortunately weak system. Hurricane Teddy, however, is a much stronger system, passing well to the east of Bermuda, but it'll head up toward Canada, Nova Scotia here later this week. So again, ran out of names. We are on a record-shattering pace, to say the least. That was back in 2005. We actually warned that this would be the most active season since 2005. And that is certainly the case. And at this point, we're probably going to surpass that record year of 27 named storms, since we're already at 23. Again, we have about 70 days left of the hurricane season. So a lot of season out there to keep watching the tropics. This is Beta landfall. Again, a weak system. Probably going to make landfall late tonight around Port O'Connor, Texas. The storm surge folks at Cirrus show a 5-foot storm surge in and around Port Arthur. Bigger surge, ironically, is up toward Houston. So 7-foot storm surge in Houston, just with a prolonged southeast fetch right into the Bay Area there. So fortunately, waves are not that big with this system. But if you notice with Hurricane Teddy out there, again, east of Bermuda, very large swells. So the entire East Coast has got some 5 to 10 foot plus waves along the East Coast due to Teddy. So other than that, no real impact for us with Teddy. That will pretty much just impact Canada. Looking at this week, last full week of September, hard to believe, week ending 27 September here. 3 degrees cooler than last year, but still 13th warmest in 35 years. It's a dichotomy of the country again, pretty much hot for the southwest and the Rockies and Plains, and cool in the southeast. Part of that's due to the rainfall that we'll get from this beta system going through Texas and the deep south. Wetter than last year, 15th driest in 33 years, but below average national rainfall. So again, pretty much feast or famine on the rainfall front. Looking at this first full week of fall, 28 September through 4 October, so about 3 degrees cooler than last year, coolest in 3 years. Still 10th warmest in 35 years with above average national temperatures. But again, hot for much of the 2/3 of the western part of the country, and cooler in the southeast part of the country. Temps versus last year in set map left there. So again, very, very cold compared to last year, the northeast, east coast. But again, just a little bit below normal. Rainfall, driest in 3 years, 15th driest in 35 years, so well below average national rainfall. Again, wet east, but dry for the western half of the country, maybe a little bit up there in the Pacific Northwest. So with that, folks, we hope you have a great week, and we will be back here this time next week.